Ha! Good day! Good day to you in the Viking tongue. I am your host for the day. I am Bragi the Scold. I am a poet and a storyteller. And yes indeed, I am the son of Magnar. Now, today it is a folktale day, and we do love a good folktale on this channel. We love a good story. And today's folktale comes from the land of England, England, in the times of the Anglo Saxons and the Angles. And let's not forget the Jutes, and later the Vikings. Now, today's story is another of these animal-themed stories, and it's about a king. But before I start telling you this story, the other day I was sitting outside my longhouse with my good friend Olaf. Now Olaf, he is a carl. He used to be a peasant, but he's come up in the world. And we was both sitting outside of my longhouse when we saw a parade of men walk past, and they was carrying these wooden crates with animals in, and we was thinking, oh, what have they got there? So we had a look, and they had some deer, they had some wild boar, and there was a lynx, a mountain lion, and one of the crates even had a great brown bear. And I thought to myself, well, these must be going to some king or some earl for entertainment, as often in those days men trapped animals as well as hunted them. And this got me and Olaf talking about who do you think is the king of the animals. Now Olaf said, well, he thought that the bear would be king because the bear is mighty and big. Roar. And I said, well, no, I think it's actually the mountain lion, the lynx, because they are very fierce and will fight until they are nearly dead. But of course we could not decide, and we carried on drinking mead, and we kind of forgot. But later on the next day, I was sitting around my hearth, and it reminded me of an old folk tale my father, Magnar, told me. And this folk tale is called The King of the Beasts. Oh yes, you know it's going to be good. Now, once upon a time, in the old days, in the days of our ancestors, during the 7th century, there was a king, a mighty king and powerful king. He had a lot of land, and a lot of thanes and earls, and he had a lot of coin, and coin was essential during the Dark Ages. And one day, the king was bored. Kings do get bored. You can only hunt animals so much, and you can only be entertained by storytellers for so long. And though they decided that they were going to go and find out who should be the king of the beasts. And so he sent out his best hunters to go and trap all of the wild animals there was in the land of England. They caught hares, they caught a fox, they caught a beaver, and they caught a big nasty wolf. And they managed to find a good old red deer, and even managed to find an auk, which was very rare and was dying out at the time of this story was told. And one of them found an eagle high up on a tree. And, one of the hunters managed to capture a big brown bear. And eventually, one of them found a mountain lion way up north and trapped that and brought it back in a cage. It was a lynx. And eventually the last of the animals was a donkey. Eeyore, eeyore. That was the noise made by the donkey. And so they had to plot and plan, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to decide who should be the king of the animals? And all the wise men of the king, his council, decided that, well, they'll have a match, a contest, and put all the animals in a longhouse, a big, big longhouse, and they would see who would win after fighting each other. They would let the animals go, and they'd all in turn fight, and the last remaining animal will be the king of the beasts. And of course, no doubt, some men made wagers and bets and put down silver coin and ingots. Some would say the bear would be the king. Some would say, oh no, it's going to be the wolf. The wolf is a mighty creature. Just look at Fenrir. And some say, whoa, no, it is going to be the mountain lion. And the debate on this carried on for a few days until they got the hall ready. And luckily this was a very, very big hall and a tall hall. And it had a balcony where the king and all of his people could watch. And people came from far and wide to see this contest. For to them, our ancestors, it was a very interesting thing. And so, after a few days of preparation, because let's face it, something like this is not easy to organise, they managed to get all the beasts together, and they had them in cages with men ready to let them go. And the king had a bit of silk. He was so rich he could afford silk. And the signal was, when he dropped the silk, that was when all of the animals were let loose and see in the fray and the fight who would win. And so this happened. The king, he had a nice horn of mead and a silk handkerchief, and he let it go, and the beasts were all let loose. And first of all, the hare and the fox came together, and of course the hare would not win over a fox, and the fox won. You know, the fox was biting at the hare and shaked it around with his mouth until the hare was dead. And then the beaver, seeing that the fox was available to be fought, attacked with his big long teeth the fox. But again, the fox being clever. Perhaps his name of the fox was Reynold, I don't know. But unfortunately the beaver lost. And the fox was continued to win the fight. But of course, next came, the fox had to fight the wolf. And who do you think, guys and girls, who would win that contest, that match? Yes, you're right, it was indeed the wolf. The wolf was mighty and big and muscular. And with its big sharp teeth, he grabbed the fox round the neck until the fox was dead. And then it was time of the Uruk, a great mighty cow. And during this time, not many were left. In fact, this could have been the last one alive in England. And of course, the Uruk and the wolf fought. And sadly, the Uruk, being so big, got the better of the wolf. As you would think. Yes, I would definitely put my money on an Uruk winning over a wolf. And then the deer, seeing the opportunity to fight the Uruk, charged the Uruk. But again, the Uruk, so big and mighty, managed to beat the deer. Even with big stags of horns, the Uruk won. Wow, what a lot of beef. And then there was the eagle. But the eagle wasn't really bothered about the fight. He didn't want to be the king of the beasts. So he flew out of a window and escaped. The eagle was very lucky that day. And then the Uruk eventually met the bear. The big, mighty brown bear with big claws and a mouth the size of a man's head. A very big man's head. And who do you think, guys and girls, would win that fight? For it was indeed the bear. The bear got the better of the Uruk, and the Uruk died a terrible, terrifying death. And then there was only a few creatures left, 3. So the bear, knowing that the mountain lion was a fierce creature to fight, started to attack each other. The fight continued for a good half an hour. But already the bear was very badly injured, and the mountain lion, being faster and more clever, managed to beat the old bear, and sadly the bear died. But no doubt afterwards it was made into a nice cloak. Bear skin and fur is a wonderful cloak. And of course, that was it. The mountain lion, the lynx, he thought he had won. He looked around, could see no more creatures. He was wounded badly and could hardly get onto his feet. In fact, he was crawling, he was bleeding, and he was probably dying. But in the distance of the hall, in the corner, who do you think he saw? And perhaps you may know. He saw the donkey. And what was the donkey doing? Why was the donkey in the corner of the hall? Because the donkey was afraid. He did not want to fight the other animals. And so the donkey had his head to the corner of the wall, head down, scared. Well, I think a donkey would be scared of this fight. But the old lynx, the mountain lion, saw that the donkey was alive and knew that in order to be king of the beasts, king of the animals, he had to go and kill the donkey. But the mountain lion, the lynx, was very badly wounded, like I said. He had gaping wounds in his legs, and he had to crawl slowly to the corner of the room to go and attack the donkey. I don't imagine you're thinking now that the lion would win this fight, this contest, this match. But as the lion grew nearer and managed to stand up on his first two hind feet, the donkey, so nervous, "Oh, go away, I do not want to die!" He kicked out with his two back feet and managed to strike the lion in the head, which did terrible damage. And the lion, the lynx, died. And thus the donkey became the king of the animals. And no doubt that day many men lost silver coin when they made a wager on who would be the king of the beasts. And this is how this king decided the contest. And this is how the donkey became the king of the beasts and the king of the animals. And I do hope you enjoy this folk tale. It is indeed a very, very nice folk tale and an old fable. And there are very similar tales like it. No doubt we'll tell them in the future. So, we often take animals for granted. And perhaps the donkey shouldn't be the king of the beasts. But in this story, he won. He was definitely not an ass. So, if you like this folk tale and this story, and if you're new to the channel, I would like to say welcome. You're more than welcome on this channel. A warm greetings from Bragi, the Scold, and the Master Storyteller, as I polish some silver, which should really go on my arm. And if you have a few minutes, like the video, and don't forget, folks, to leave a comment, and I will answer personally to your comments. So for now, it is time for me to say goodbye, for the village are all meeting up with our shields and our axes to practice fighting, because you never know when a heathen army is going to land in England and try to take over. I bid you farewell. Goodbye.